Hey guys, Filthy Robot here, doing another State of the Channel today, this time for April of 2019. We're going to start with the multitude of changes that have come to my channels recently. So let's start there. First of all, you guys have probably noticed my YouTube channel has undergone some renovations and changes. The rough goal is this, the kind of big picture goal is to reduce the number of videos that I upload to YouTube, but increase the both quality of the footage that's being represented there and the quality of the videos themselves. I have an editor now through part of my association with F2K, and he is, as I select the footage, he's making them into edited videos for the channel. Originally, when I started my YouTube, it was in response to my viewers telling me, I'd like to be able to watch the rest of the games that I couldn't finish on your channel. Is there somewhere we could do that? And that's been YouTube for years now for me. It's basically been that premise. Make sure the footage is available of the stuff we've done for people who want to watch it. But Twitch VODs are pretty much good enough these days that you can catch that on Twitch if you want. And YouTube, we'd like to use a little bit differently. I'd like to use that for things like my State of the Channel announcements. I want to start doing some brief game reviews. I'll get back to that later. And I want to be able to put up the best of the best content for those of you who just want to catch kind of highlights or recaps, or who have already watched the stream and just want to relive the better moments of that stream. This is a work in progress. I've been really pleased with the editor I'm working with, but you guys are certainly welcome to give feedback, particularly if it's constructive feedback. It's not so useful to be like, I don't like this music. Of course you don't. There's 80,000 of you, and a large portion of you have in music interests that don't overlap with each other, and we're using free music that doesn't have copyright issues. However, if you were to say, man, Filthy, we can never hear you because the music is too loud relative to your voice in all of the videos, that's a useful piece of actionable criticism that we can use as the editor and myself to change the videos to make them better. Or if there's too many edits and too many cuts and we can't follow the flow of the game, that's another big one that would be like a really useful criticism. So I do want your feedback on these changes, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you guys if you like the reduction in videos for the increase of quality. But try not to be too knee-jerk about how you respond to that, especially if you've been watching my channel for years and years and you're like, man, your system was working for us and now you've changed it. I hate everything about change. Well, take a minute and assess the change first, and then kind of let us know how it goes. On that note, I do want to apologize. There was a day, maybe a month or two ago now from releasing this video, where I dumped like 40 Battle Brother videos onto the YouTube. I did this because we are mid-season releasing Battle Brothers content for a season, and I didn't want those of you who are following that playthrough to not get the end of the videos for that Battle Brothers season. But at the same time, we were starting to make the change. We were making the change from like 8 videos a day to 1 video a day. And I wanted to make that process start then. So I apologize for that one day. All right, that's the first set of changes. Second set of changes. My streaming schedule has changed. You may or may not have noticed, but I have a new schedule up. You can always type !schedule or !SC in my Twitch channel, whether or not I'm online to take a look at that. But basically, I will be streaming 7 days a week now instead of 5. The overall hours on each day will have gone down slightly, and I'm going to try 2 evening streams a week on Tuesday and Wednesday as both a change in just kind of when I'm available to make it a little bit more accessible to some of you guys, as well as I think the longer streams were kind of sapping my creative energy. I'd be at the end of it like an 8 or a 9 or sometimes a 10 or 11 hour stream, and I just don't have anything left in me for the day. I just don't have any energy to do anything else. I think spreading out a little bit more means I can be a little bit more of my focus on some of these improvements, some of the admin stuff that goes along with the channel, some of the changes, etc. As well as the fact that I'm mostly streaming these days. I am creating YouTube content, but the YouTube content is heavily related to my stream. For a long time, I was doing playthroughs that were YouTube only or weren't on Twitch or stuff like that. I plan on doing still guide videos, etc. I really like doing guide videos of games I get interested in. More on that a little bit later. But my primary focus at the moment is, or rather my primary place where I'm producing content is on Twitch, and the YouTube stuff is often derived from the Twitch content. Hopefully the best of the best making it to YouTube. But either way, it seems like my focus ought to be on putting the hours onto Twitch. And I don't really need days off of that. So there we go. In addition, there is a benefit of streaming 7 days a week, which is when I travel, and my travel schedule is starting to shape up this year, and I have a better sense of what that's going to be. If I'm streaming 7 days a week and I need to leave 2 or 3 days out of some of these weeks, it's going to be less impactful than if I have to lose. That's like, you know, a third of my streaming week as opposed to like half of my streaming week if I have to do it when I'm only streaming 5 days. So hopefully the impact of my traveling stuff will be less negative on my viewership in terms of you guys still getting to see me when you want to see me, because I'm there 7 days a week and I'm only leaving 2, as opposed to being there 5 days a week and only leaving 2. That's my thoughts on the streaming schedule changes. You're certainly welcome to let me know how you feel about that. And we're going to try it for a few months regardless, and hopefully it will be a overall positive improvement. Other changes. I have joined a team. You guys may have noticed the F2K logo on a number of my media presences, as well as on a number of my videos. That is a streaming team. It's called Fade to Karma is what it stands for. And it's been pretty good so far. The basic premise of that is they pay me based on views for basically advertising some of their stuff, doing those as small carousel changing advertisements on my screen. And in return, as I said, they paid me. But in addition to that, there's a number of kind of community benefits that I garner from that. Being around other streamers doing this for a profession, being around a company that is attempting to be on the cutting edge of how Twitch changes and keeping up with that. It's been really useful. There's a couple projects I'm now a part of. Can't say a lot about them, but you might see them rolling out on my channel in the near future. I'm really pleased with that so far. That's been a nice change. I really like working with them. They've been really responsive. A number of my streaming peers like Jorbs and Arvius were already there in that team, and it was kind of having spoken to them, I was like, oh, this actually sounds like something that might be pretty good. And it's often hard to get a sense of that as a streamer. There's a lot of offers being sent my way every day, and it's sometimes hard to kind of separate out the garbage from the actual good offers, or the stuff that is useful to some streamers but not useful to a streamer of my size and my channel's channel focus. So I've been really pleased with F2K so far. So that's another change you may have noticed. All right, kind of continuing on the idea of changes. So there's another type of video that I'm hoping to start bringing you guys soon. It will be a YouTube oriented video. And these are like brief recap or brief like Filthy's first look kind of videos on games. So the way my streaming tends to work is I tend to have a primary game I'm focused on. Sometimes it's 2 primary games, but mostly it's 1 primary game at a time that I'm focused on. And then I do some streams along the course of the weeks or the months that I'm playing this game that are of different games. And it's often me feeling out games. So the process, I've said this before on channel, but a really brief recap, is I get offered a lot of games and I actually go actively looking for a lot of games across the course of each individual week or every individual month. And a subset of those, I test a lot of these. So some of them I just rule out immediately. Some of them I play offline before I get to stream, and I'm like, oh, these are good enough. I could try to stream it and see how it works and see how people like it and show it off a little bit. And then a subset of those make that cut, and then I go stream those. And then the popular ones, the ones that you guys like and seem to go, that I like and you guys like and have some depth to them and some replayability to them, we play a lot on stream. And then the ones that kind of are like, oh, this was fun, but it's really not what we want to do, or oh, it's limited, it's a campaign, and there's only, or oh, it's fairly repetitive, it's a kind of a cool concept, but there's not a lot of gameplay footage out of it. Those ones don't tend to make it back again and again. But they're disappearing. And I think one of the things that I could do, and I think I want to do here, is I want to touch on those. So like I played, the last couple months I played Battlefleet Gothic 2, I played a little bit of Sekiro, I played some of the Battle Brothers again, I played a little bit of Pathfinder Kingmaker, played a little bit of Slay the Spire, I checked out the Stellaris expansion, stuff like this. Like I think I'm going to start doing little brief 5 to 10 minute recap videos of, oh, here's me checking out this content, here's what I thought about it, here's the things I liked about it, here's the things I didn't like about it, here's the future or lack of future I think it has on my channel and why, that type of stuff. So hopefully those will be coming out in the not too distant future, but it's one of the things I want to add, and that's something that's really going to be helped by edited content. So having an editor available working with my channel means he can do things like put gameplay footage to me post-fact commentating over it, which is something that with me not doing a lot of editing on my videos was prior to this a little bit difficult to put up on my channel. It required a lot of work from me, and now I have the means to make that something that's much easier to do. So expect to see that type of content in the not too distant future. Speaking of, let's talk a little bit about game selection. As I said, played a fair number of games recently on stream that are a little bit different. I still seem to be, at the moment, fairly focused on Magic the Gathering Arena. I'm really pleased with the game as a whole, although the variant still drives me nuts. It has a lot of replayability. They're regularly releasing expansions for it. I'm playing against other human beings, which I really like, which means there's a chance to set traps, play against people, interact on a competitive like player versus player level that I really enjoy, much above and beyond using an AI or figuring out the way the computer thinks about this and taking advantage of that. I like that there's a player there. That's been pretty good as a game for me. Probably still focusing on Magic. There's an expand coming out in, I think it's late April, early May, somewhere around there. The next set drops. I've been doing a lot of limited drafting, having a lot of fun with that. And a lot of you seem to be enjoying that as well. I also picked up a game controller, which is, for me, I've never owned a game controller. I've never played console games growing up. But I did pick up a game controller that I can plug into my computer. We played a little bit of Sekiro with that. This gives me just a little bit more reach in terms of which titles I can check out. And there are some really good console games that want that interface, and I would like to be able to play them. And I also bought an Oculus Rift. Still struggling a bit with the setup on that. I wasn't aware, really. I didn't really do the research, I guess, for that it requires 3 USB ports and an HDMI port to run, as well as I cleared some space in the room to make possible to do that. The goal for this is to be able to play pretty much any good game that's released on any basic system that I want to be able to play it. I want to be able to play it, try it, and check it out on stream. I'm a variety channel. I know I started with Civ, and I tend to have a core game, but my ultimate goal with gaming and with this channel is to be able to play what I want and what's fun, and to be able to move games and keep my viewership and keep being able to do what I do as a streamer and as a YouTube content creator. If I get tied too much to a game, I lose the freedom to move from game to game. And I want to be able to move from game to game. I think it's the future for my sanity, but also the future of how this works. Games have a shelf life. Even really good games have a finite amount of time that they're going to live on as something interesting for people to view, for players to play. And I have a sanity level on that. Like at some point, I'm like, I've played enough of this game. It's a great game. I love it, but it's time to move on. And I want to be able to keep doing that. And I think having the options open of all these different systems is going to be good. So expect to start seeing some potentially games that I wouldn't normally play, some stuff maybe outside my comfort level in terms of genres, but as I experiment with the flexibility of having access to these games, because I want to check out good games that are out there, kind of regardless of what area or what system they're built for. On that mindset, games I'm most looking forward to right now, I miss a lot. As I said, like this is an ongoing process repeatedly for me, looking for games and winnowing through the stuff that gets sent to me as game offers. But the games I'm kind of looking forward to right now, I'm looking forward to the Battle Brothers DLC. We will be playing that on stream. I'm really looking forward to Darkest Dungeon 2. There was a Darkest Dungeon 2 announcement, which is super cool. Crowfall gets further and further along through its alpha testing. We're starting to see some of the Throne World mini campaigns running. I'm going to put out a call here for that. If some of you are heavily engaged with Crowfall content up until now and through now, if you guys are doing it and playing it, I would love one of my viewers to kind of chat with me about that a little bit. Discord's the best way to get a hold of me, as always. I'll plug Discord again a little bit later. But I want to get heavily involved with Crowfall, I think. And I've tried now a couple times, installed it, played through it a little bit. And at the moment, I know it's alpha, and I don't generally play alpha games. I don't like to play alpha games in general. But I'm struggling to engage with it. All the tutorials aren't there right now. It's a complex system, and I'm having a bit of kind of just conceptual issues with, well, what the hell am I supposed to be doing here? Why do I care? And I don't want to hack trees to death with hatchets anymore if I can really avoid that. So my point being, this is a game I am very excited about. It's from the creators of Shadowbane, I think Ultima Online, and I think Eve were like the three that are coming together for this. And it's going to be a sandbox PvP MMO, which I love. These are some of my absolute all-time favorite gaming experiences. So that's one of the ones that's starting to get to the point where I would like to start sinking some time into it, perhaps off stream, perhaps on stream, depending on how streamable it is. But I would like to start getting situated where it's getting close enough that it might be in a playable format that I would like to start learning about it. And one of the ways I thought that I could kind of shortcut that would be to ask some of you guys who are playing it and who have been following it and been keeping up to date with it, kind of the best way to get involved with that. So that's a call out to you guys. Feel free to contact me through Discord. It's the best way to do it. And I would love to hear a little bit about that. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Magic. So as I said, in really enjoying the game as a whole, the variance kills me. On any given game, it's not such a big deal, although I will definitely yell loudly when I'm on the receiving end of bad variance, for sure. You can that's a guarantee that I'm giving you guys. But I did find it really, really frustrating. Recently we played in a tournament, not that recently, I guess now. It was another Twitch Rivals tournament. I spent a bunch of time on deck prep and playing and building a deck that was good versus the meta decks, so we could come play that and beat the meta decks, and then just got boned by variants. And I realized how much more frustrating that was when every game mattered. When you're playing a draft, every game kind of matters, but I play 3 or 4 drafts a day, you know, with probably 15 to 20 games played. 15 to 20 matches played across 3 drafts, which, you know, is somewhere around 50 to 60 games a day. And one or, you know, the individual fluctuations of the games isn't that important, but man, it was a lot more punishing for me internally when my tournament life was riding on every one of those games and I was having extreme land variance or something like that. So that was a little bit unpleasant, but that's even not the thing I want to talk about. What I want to talk about right now is the Mythic Invitational. For those of you who don't know, it's a really big Magic tournament. There are 64 invited players to that. The top prize is $250,000, and the last place, the person who places 64th, will be taking home $7,500 for that. The invites were a mix of invites for pro Magic players and streamers, as well as a couple spots that were you could take if you finished the top, like I think it's 8 in the ladder, you were invited as well. And that was that left a really bad taste. I'm still very bitter about these announcements. I should have been invited, and I wasn't. And that was a little bit painful for a game that I'm spending this much time on. I don't know what their selection criteria was. Feels bad to be streaming and promoting a game and then have the company turn around and just like close their eyes to you and not tell you why. To be like, oh, well, that huge tournament that's going to have a massive amount of publicity, has a really big payday attached with it, is a really big thing. To put it in perspective, there was a tweet that just, I think the other day, I just retweeted, right? Which was, the winner of that tournament will be the 21 most earning player of Magic the Gathering ever for one tournament win. That's how big this tournament is compared to the rest of it. And I don't actually wish to be a pro player. I don't want my income based on tournaments. I'm happy with my income as a streamer in terms of being based on viewership and being based on the content I produce. That's kind of the model I like. But there's so much prestige and so much visibility and so much exposure of being part of this tournament. It was really frustrating not to be invited, especially when there are many names on that list of invitees who are much smaller, much less impactful streamers than me in that game. And not knowing why they were chosen ahead of me is a really frustrating thing for me. So I'm very bitter about that. So I'm a mixed bag. This is the ambiguous with the high positive and the high negative for Magic right now. I'm really enjoying the game as a whole. I'm enjoying as I said, the player versus player element of it. I'm enjoying the repeated revitalization of the game with regular expansions. But man, I was frustrated with how Wizards handled the invites for that, and very, very frustrated with particularly how that fell out for my channel and for me. I survived my first Wisconsin winter. Supposedly it's one of the worst winters we've had in ages, like record snowfalls for a number of the months, unbelievably ridiculous weathers. We had 2 weeks of between -30 and -50 degrees, that's Fahrenheit. Just absolutely terribly nasty weather. And it was very demoralizing for me as a whole. I grew up in cold weather, and I've lived in cold weather for years now, but this was a particularly brutal winter for me. And I've noticed it in terms of my overall demeanor and my energy levels and things like that. So coming into spring has been great. I went down to visit my parents a couple weeks ago who are down in Florida. Got to see sunlight and greenery, and that was great. I actually just bought, within I think a couple days of recording this, I just ordered a what is it, a UV light, whatever it's called, the sun lamp stuff, because I don't think I've seen sun in about 3 or 4 months now, maybe longer, maybe 6 months now or something like that. So I'm working on that. I'm adapting to my new environment with mixed success, but aware now that the spring has returned, like how much of my energy has come back with it. So hopefully I can adapt to that a little bit better this next coming year. But also it's damn nice to be out of the winter months and into spring. Really excited about that. My wife accepted a tenure track position up here. So we are going to be here for definitely the immediate future, and probably at least the mid-range, if not longer future. So I will be in this area for a while. I'm mostly pleased with it. Internet is very stable here. I've got a great setup for streaming and content creation. People are extremely nice, and there's a big drinking culture, all these things which I like. Although the weather leaves a lot to be desired. Up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, if you're curious where that is. But overall, pretty good. But glad to be out of that winter. Man, that was very impactful. I'm surprised. It's easy to look back and see it, but it's sometimes hard in the moment to realize how much of your mood and energy is impacted by things that are external to you. And that was very noticeable this winter for me. All right, other updates. So we have been running a long-term D&D campaign on this channel. You guys may have noticed with Kevin, Jorbs, Dolphin, myself, and Adam, and earlier than that, Xylo. We are in the process of starting another long-term campaign. Adam left the DMing, basically. A lot of DM burnout for him, as well as the desire to build his world, and his world wasn't kind of ready to be played in yet. We wish to continue having a weekly game. We all left on good terms. I don't want to give the wrong idea. Adam was a great DM. We were super excited to be playing with him. I'm sorry to see him go, and hope to play with him again in the future. But at the moment, we are in between DMs and in between D&D games. There's been a couple one-offs. We continue to try out both players and DMs through one-offs to get some sense of how we all interact as a group. There'll be a couple more of those coming out, and then hopefully in the not too distant future, we will be starting a D&D campaign again. If you are a DM and interested in DMing for our group, you are certainly welcome to reach out to me or Jorbs. Discord is still the best way. We are currently doing kind of like DM. They're a little bit of interview up front, and then it's basically like build us a one-off and let's play in your world and see how everyone gets together. And the end result of that is going to be a few more weeks of that, hopefully, and then a selection to move forward for a longer campaign. So if you like the D&D content, that will be something that will make it back to this channel. And if you didn't notice recently, I did DM my own session. I love feedback on that. I'm a feedback junkie. So if you have things to say about that or want to watch me DM with the group, please go watch those and let me know what you thought of them. I think sometime late spring, early summer this year, I will be doing a fairly major system update. Shouldn't be particularly impactful, but I just want to keep abreast with the technology and hardware to do what I want to be doing. I've heard that streaming off the Rift is a little bit painful on your hardware, so we'll be doing some upgrades for that. So Discord still remains the best way to interact with me when I am not streaming. I strongly invite you guys to join the Discord channel. Very easy to find, just !Discord in my Twitch chat. Whether I'm online or offline, we'll give you a link to that. Anyone is welcome to join. It's a fairly active community. We talk a fair amount. If you're just interested in talking about the games that I've played or am playing, that's a great place to do it. If you wish to contact me or talk to me directly, that's the way to do it. If you want to be up to date on the types of games I'm considering playing for the channel, I run polls sometimes if I'm looking to see which of these games you want to stream next. We occasionally run channel tournaments with that, and there may be one of those, fingers crossed, this coming month, etc. Discord is the place to get a hold and get in contact with both myself and my community. Twitter is another one. You definitely follow me on Twitter if you have not already. I don't tweet a lot, but it is a good way that I send out informational stuff, especially if I'm going to be late, if the stream's going to be delayed, if we're going to be doing something different or something cool, then Twitter's often the way to do it. So that would be good to be connected with. And then finally, I want to shout out to my silent, suffering supporters on Patreon who month after month support me through that. I really appreciate that. I appreciate all my viewers and all my supporters, but the Twitch viewers, you guys get recognized monthly when you resub. You get recognized when you're in channel supporting me, and I really appreciate that. And the Patreon supporters don't get a lot of shout outs, so I do want to just take that quick moment to recognize that continued support, how much that means to me, and I really appreciate that. So guys, hopefully this was informative. I do try to do these a little bit more regularly than I have. Seems to be based on my energy levels and what's going on, and we had a lot of updates to talk through today. Hopefully this keeps you a little bit more up to date, and cheers. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.